I'm Maureen Fan, and I'm CEO and co-founder of Baobab Studios. And before I start, I just want to see how many of you have seen the VR demo out there? Awesome. Everyone who hasn't, you should all go see it. How many of you have tried out VR in your lives? Wow, that's a huge number. That's great for my industry. Okay, so I'm here to talk about VR and what it means to do interactive storytelling within VR. But before I do that, I want to show you a quick clip of the types of things that we can do in VR specifically for our company. This is called Invasion, and this is a short animated trailer of what it would be like to be in VR. Okay, now imagine instead of this 2D screen here, you are on an icy lake, and you look down, you have a little furry bunny body, and you can hop around the ice, and when you squat, your bunny body gets really fat, just the way it would in real life if you were a bunny. And imagine there's snow falling all around you, and the bunny is actually coming up to sniff you, and those aliens are about to attack you. And you notice that there are no cuts in there, and I'll explain more about that. But before I go there, I want to ask you guys, how many of you guys consider yourselves athletes? Okay, a few. How about singer-songwriters? How about astronaut? Just one? Okay, one. It's always at least one person says yes. Okay, so if you're your 5-year-old selves, you would have said yes to all the questions above. So the question is, what happens from when you're 5 to becoming an adult that makes you a little bit less idealistic? Maybe someone told you your sculpture didn't look quite right in art class, or you had a tiger mom like I did, who told me I was totally too idealistic. But we believe inside everyone there's still a dreamer. And we know this to be true because it's why we go watch the movies, to experience characters and stories beyond those that we meet in our lives today. And we think animation does this way better than live action, because while live action is still constrained by reality, animation is constrained only by the creativity within the director's head, which is freedom. So animation is art in motion. It takes you to completely different worlds and makes it feel so real that you think you could reach out and touch it. And the last two sentences that I just said, which is takes you to a different world and makes it feel so real that you could touch it, is the definition of VR, which is why we think VR and animation were made for each other. So originally, the mission of our company, therefore, is to inspire you to dream, bring that 5-year-old in you back out, bring out your sense of wonder, and help you realize the potential that you have within you. The company we're called Baobab Studios. The first one to tell you about my path really quick is to let you know that you don't have to know what you're doing in life, and you'll figure it out. You don't have to have a set plan. I started off at eBay as a UI designer, ended up at Pixar on Toy Story 3, ended up at Zynga, became vice president of games, looking over the Farmville franchise. And during that time, nights and weekends, I worked on a short animated film called The Dam Keeper, which got nominated for an Oscar. Basically, everything I did, I kept on taking night classes, anything that I really loved to get into the next career I wanted. So I didn't have Udacity back then, but I really wish I did. But I went the physical, concrete form and took community college classes. Erik Darnell was the director of Ants and also the writer and director of all 4 Madagascar films. He's my co-founder and chief creative officer. And there's Larry Cutler, who is Pixar early days. He went to Stanford with me, master's thesis in VR, realized it was way too early in the 90s for VR, so was smart enough to go to Pixar and ended up at DreamWorks as global head of character technology, and he's a judge for the Technical Achievement Awards. So the 3 of us got together and started this company a little over a year ago, so VR is very early, in its very early stages. And in terms of advisors, this is not just to brag about how awesome we are, but trying to explain to you how all the original people who did the transition from 2D to 3D are now interested in VR. Because to them, it feels the same as when 2D went to 3D. There's new technology, nobody knows what's going on. It's art and science put together. And so we have the co-founder of Pixar, the co-founder of PDI DreamWorks Animation, former CEO of Lucasfilm, co-president of DreamWorks, co-founder of Twitch, and my favorite, who I worship, is Glenn Keane, who was the main animator for Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Pocahontas, all the awesome Disney films, and also Chris Milk. So what is all the fuss about? Why do people like interactive storytelling in VR? Storytelling, fundamentally, is getting you all to feel empathy for characters. That's really what it's about. It's about making you care so much about a character that you want to see their story. You want to see, do they win? Do they fail? Do they succeed? Now, our original main character was this little alien. But through VR, we realized that the bunny stole the show, and it's specifically because of this moment. So she comes up and sniffs you, right? And then she gets on the ground and starts playing with you. And you're like, what's the big deal? It's called breaking the fourth wall in film. Like in Deadpool, you know how Deadpool looks at you and starts talking to you? But at no point in Deadpool did you really believe Deadpool is really talking to you. But in VR, something in your reptile brain makes you believe that Bunny's real and actually playing with you. So we had people start trying to pet her, coo at her, wave at her, and they started playing with her on the ground like a dog, and they were sure that she was reacting to them when she wasn't. It was totally canned animation. But at this point, we realized there was something very different about VR. And then there's this other point where she runs behind you and hides behind you. And when the aliens come to shoot and point their lasers at you, Alvy Ray Smith, the co-founder of Pixar, he said, "Oh my God, I'm the only thing between these aliens and this bunny. I need to save her. I can feel her breath on my shoulder," which was really just the air conditioning from our office. But the point is, he's like, "I have to save her. I love her." And at that point, we realized we won, right? In VR, we can make you care about that character so real that the stakes are so high that you want to protect her and actually take care of her. And that is the power of VR, something that you can never get in a 2D screen. So that's when we realized we were really onto something, and that was our first experiment to even see if we could do VR. And from that experience, we realized that Invasion became the top downloaded VR experience across all the platforms. And this was really confusing to us because we thought VR was for hardcore gamers, right? It's just all about gaming. But for this to beat out all the hardcore games, we realized that it's not just about gaming, it's also about storytelling. So what is the future of VR? I don't know, but I can speculate. The truth is, think about how many years it took, decades it took for cinema to become what it is today. The cuts, pans, and zooms and all that. That took a lot of experimentation, and that's the phase we're in right now. We're all about experimentation. So for any of you, it's great news for you all because what I'm basically saying is to ignore everything I'm telling you. Ignore everything that everyone's telling you. Throw the rule books out and experiment and try things that are new because that's the only way we're going to figure out what the actual language of VR is. And I want to show you a quick clip of something that we premiered at Sundance Film Festival. So this is the second episode. Since Invasion did so well, Roth Kirschenbaum Films. Roth is a former chairman of Disney. He did Maleficent, Snow White and the Huntsman, Alice in Wonderland. They picked it up to become a feature, Invasion to become a Hollywood feature film, which is amazing because usually it's Hollywood stuffing their IP into the new tech rather than the other way around. So we're really excited. This is episode 2. But one thing we did realize with this is we can make you not only a bunny, but a character that can actually walk around within the space and have not only care about the characters, but act upon that caring, which we call compassion. And so now, not only can you care, you can actually interact with the characters, help them, hurt them, do many different things with the characters, which makes the stakes even higher. And we think that's the next evolution of storytelling. So if you have any questions, feel free to follow us on any of these things or email me at Maureen@baobabstudios.com, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.